Welcome to another episode of Between the Frames, and I'm your host, Roz Ackerman. Thank you for being here. So today we are going to be talking about 10 things you actually need to start a photography business in 2026. And I know we're already pretty much halfway through the year. It's June, or almost June at the time of recording. And you might be thinking, well, this is kind of coming a little bit late, but just because we're halfway through the year doesn't mean that you're starting to think about starting a new business. And maybe these are some tips that you can find useful if you are planning ahead for 2027. So before I dive in with everything, let me summarize for you my main talking points, okay? So the key things you're going to learn during this podcast. I think now in 2026, there has never been a better time to start a photography business. Honestly, I think any business, to be honest, but we're talking photography specifically here. And it's just because there are so many incredible tools available to us now. I started setting up my business in 2023, and it was so much harder back then. Everything was so much slower. There weren't the same tools available. AI hadn't really taken off yet, so it was hard. There were some great tools and platforms, but it was hard. Anyway, I digress. So we're going to be talking about that. And then I do want to say as well, because we do have so many tools available to us, I get that there is that sense of overwhelm because there is just so many different directions you can go, which platform is better than the other, which CRM should you use, all those kinds of things. So that is what this podcast is here for you for today. And then I will go and talk a little bit about my own personal experience as well. So where I started, just to give you some context, and hopefully that'll make things feel relevant, relatable, and like you're not alone. So before I do dive into all the nitty gritty, in case you can't tell already, I am feeling like a little bit of a hot mess today. I'm definitely overtired, and now I'm also shaky because I've had too much caffeine. So this is great. I feel like this is just like my mom energy in 2026. And I'm sure there's a lot of other moms out there who can relate too. So forgive me if I'm coming off as a hot mess today. So why am I feeling that way? Well, yesterday was my daughter's dance recital. This is the third year she's done recital now, so it's kind of wild to think back. Her first one was back in 2024, and she was just a little bit older than 3, so kind of incredible and crazy that she was able to go up on stage in 2024 when she was just 3 years old. And then just to see how grown up she is in comparison now, it just blows my mind and also makes me feel very emotional. So yes, yesterday was a whole thing, honestly, since Friday, because Friday was her rehearsal, and my son as well, although he decided not to perform. That's a whole thing. We'll talk about that another time, but he just turned 3, but he's actually going through those terrible 2s right now. So anyway, so I had to pick them up early from camp, get them to rehearsal. Rehearsal's running an hour late. It was just it was a long afternoon. I think we were all frazzled by the end of the day, so we all crashed really hard. And then yesterday was the recital itself. So again, it was just kind of like a whole day thing building up to it, getting her hair done. Of course, I had to take some pictures because she hadn't had any pictures done. And then, just last night, obviously, I ended up staying up way too late because I had to edit the photos. And this is funny because my husband he said to me, I was sat at the kitchen counter, and he was like, this is like your toxic trait. You come home from taking pictures and you immediately have to, upload them, cull them, start editing. Is this just you or is this all photographers? And I was like, I'm pretty sure this is all photographers. But I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me if it's different. I find it really hard to come back from a session and not want to immediately dive in and see what kind of editing I'm going to apply and how my photos are going to look, because I want to know. Like in the moment in the session, I'm like, cool, this is good. And then there's nothing worse than that sinking feeling when you get home and start looking at your raws of like, oh God, what did I do? How I'm completely off center here and various things. Anyway, so it's kind of like, it's twofold. It's like you really want to start editing and do the work, but you also want to double check that you got good stuff. So I was up super late editing those photos, and then I couldn't go to sleep because all the music from the show, and I guess just like the adrenaline of the day just kind of hyped me up. So yeah, I am feeling a little on edge today, and also recording this in what little time I have available because my daughter is also doing another recital today for synchronized swimming. Yes, craziness. She's 5 and she does synchro. Anyway, so that's just like a little bit of personal background going into today's show. I do have notes in front of me because I want to just make sure I hit all the key points. And obviously I've come up with 10 different things that I believe you guys are going to need. I do just want to say that I'm just kind of listing these off. They're not in any real order of importance. I do think there's going to be a natural flow there, but just kind of think of this like a checklist. And then the other thing I will say about these 10 different items I'm going to talk about, your 10 to-do list, let's say, 10 things to do, is they do not all need to be perfectly executed, okay? I would say maybe you don't even necessarily have to do all of them, but at least get 80% done, maybe 70 to 80%. And then again, like perfection is not what we're striving for, okay? You can always build from where you're at. Let's just get the ball rolling, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's dive in. First on my list is headshots. I think this is so important because photographers are not just putting out pretty pictures anymore. That is not what people want. It's 2026. People are craving connection. They want to see the human behind everything, okay? So they want to know that they're not dealing with AI. So you are a personal brand, all right? Do not forget that. You need to show your face on your website, on your social media, everywhere, all right? So people are only going to book you if they know who you are, if they feel connected to you. You know, you are photographing them at some of the most important stages of their lives, whether that be their wedding, maybe their birth, if you're a birth photographer, or newborn, or maternity, maybe someone, you know, it's a lot. These are important memories that you are being trusted with, and people need to know that they can trust you. So they need to see a face. Ideally, you're going to have some headshots with you holding your camera, or your camera is somewhere within that frame, whether it's sat on the floor in front of you. But yeah, just make sure that your face is clearly visible for at least your profile photo on social media. And I do think it's great if you're like holding up your camera as well, because it just immediately people see that and they're like, oh, this person's a photographer. So yeah, make sure that that is going out in all the important places: Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if you use TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. And then of course, on your website, you absolutely have to have an About Me section on your website. So if you don't have pictures of yourself, that's not really going to work. Okay, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. If you're not sure who to help you with those headshots, I mean, you can absolutely do them yourself if you want to set up a tripod and do some self-portraits. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then just grab a friend, do a headshot swap. I do this all the time with my photographer friends, and it's really great. We have so much fun, and yeah, it's just an easy way to get good headshots. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is gear. Obviously, you can't really start shooting if you don't have any gear. So maybe you used to be a hobbyist, but you don't really have a good camera anymore. And I kind of feel like that's where I started. Like I had, I'm going to have to look it up now. I had like a really old school Canon camera. I think it was the Digital Rebel XTI, I want to say. And I just had I'm pretty sure I just had the 50 millimeter lens that came with it. It was at least a prime lens, and I do think the f-stop was decent. I want to say it was like 1.8. Yeah, but anyway, so it was good to get started. Like it was fine. I took some shots with it. It was okay. But if you're not sure what you want, I do recommend finding some local stores, seeing where you can rent equipment, and trying out a few different brands first if you're just not sure. I think because I had previously used Canon, I just immediately felt drawn to getting a Canon camera, and I just felt like I was going to be immediately comfortable with that. I did not go and rent a camera first, and I do kind of regret that, although I'm super happy with the camera I have now. I don't know, I feel like I have a little bit of regret because at least, so I have the Canon R6, the original, so Mark 1, whatever you want to call it. And I will say that camera body is a little on the heavier side, a little on the bulkier side. I know the later versions of it now are a lot lighter and just kind of fit in your hands a little bit better. So I have a little bit of regret. I don't know. I'm going to just say this, throw it out there, that I didn't try Sony because I feel like, I don't know, everything I see about them, they just seem very easy, user-friendly, and they're super light. So just really portable. And yeah, I just think that's kind of important, especially if you're going to be like a wedding photographer and you're going to be using it for hours on end. The other thing is just being able to shoot in low light. I mean, mirrorless cameras are really great at that now, but I've heard really good things about Sony. So I just said that. I do still love Canon. I think I'm always going to be a Canon girl, but it's worth trying out different things and just spending a little bit of money to rent for a couple days at a time, so you can figure that out. And then I do think you also want to think about what lens you're going to need. If you don't have any lenses, then my personal recommendation would be to get one zoom lens. So I shoot primarily families and couples and children. So the first lens I got was a 24 to 70 millimeter lens, and honestly, that was perfect. It still is perfect. It like literally sits on my camera all the time. I think if I upgrade that lens, I'm going to get the exact same focal length zoom lens. Okay, so I'm not switching that out. But I think if you're going to be shooting weddings, you're going to want to think about definitely longer length. You may even want to think, some people may even want to consider prime lenses. Yeah, I don't know. Zoom lenses have become really great now. So I think where there used to be that little bit of snobbery about prime lenses, I don't know if you should be so worried about that anymore. I love my zoom lens. It does a great job. So yeah, don't just kind of stick with the lens that you get in your kit, because that kit lens usually is not going to be the best for portrait photography. Okay, let me see. I think that's it. I do think, just to kind of sum up that section there, don't let getting gear kind of hold you back from getting started. Do just rent some gear until you're ready. And then also, I will say about this as well, check out your local stores too for secondhand gear. I think there is a lot of really great gear that you can pick up that's secondhand. You do not need to spend top dollar for some really incredible equipment. So take a look at that. Yeah, you definitely don't need to pay for something full price, brand new. Okay, number 3 is posing. I think I kind of took this for granted when I first started shooting friends and family. I sort of just thought, okay, I'll just show up. I'll have some Pinterest poses in mind and just kind of try to put those people in those poses. And then I realized really quickly that that's really hard to emulate, especially with families. It didn't really suit the style I was also trying to create, which is lifestyle candid imagery. So yes, it's good to have a little collection for yourself of poses that you like the look of. But more important than that, you need to understand how to prompt people so that you can naturally get them into those poses. So I actually am a coach. I coach fitness classes at a local gym. And I still found this hard. Like, I just was like, oh, well, what are some of the cues I need? So definitely make sure you look up some education about that. You can find so much on YouTube and on Instagram as well. There are a lot of great photographers out there who are sharing posing tips on their channels. And a lot of the time they are also selling a course, but they provide you with some great insights to get started. I'll actually drop a couple in the show notes later, just so you have a couple of ideas of who to get started with. But yeah, so I definitely recommend that. There's also apps out there. The Unscripted Posing app has a whole kind of gallery directory you can look up. So that's kind of useful too. It is a little like Pinterest, I'll say, but in that respect, but it's still super helpful. And then I think if you are shooting weddings or even extended families, it's really helpful to just have a dialogue with your client. And something I do before my sessions is I'll have a client questionnaire and I will ask them, are there any specific photos that you absolutely must have? I think this is imperative for wedding photography. And I still think it is quite important for family photography. Even if you are, like myself, more of a lifestyle or documentary style photographer, I think it's important just to know like what type of things is your client hoping that you capture. And it might not necessarily be a image where they're looking directly at the camera and everybody's smiling. Maybe that's not what they want, but they can give you some guidance on the kinds of details they're looking for. So I think that's super helpful in guiding you for your session planning. I think it's key. You need to help people feel comfortable. If people are not comfortable, they're automatically going to look stiff and awkward in their photos. So you need to try to encourage them to look natural by making them feel comfortable. So make them laugh, joke with them, get to know them. You have to get to know them before the session. So if you're not doing a session questionnaire, put that on your list too. Get to know your clients so you have some talking points. And yeah, just make them feel at ease at the beginning of your session. I always spend at least 5 minutes at the beginning of my session just trying to make them feel comfortable. Even if those images are like throwaway images, that is just my opportunity to get them feeling comfortable in front of the camera. So have them move, have them play, have them laugh together, just get that natural energy flowing, and then the rest of the session will feel easy. Cool. All right, moving on. Number 4, all right, make connections. Okay, so you're starting a business. You are definitely going to need a network. You're going to want to offer some discounted shoots within your community. So just be intentional. Don't be totally random about it. Think about who your ideal client is. For example, I primarily work with families. So I actually did approach my kids' preschool and offered some photography there. So that definitely got my name out. I actually helped my kids' preschool with their website and took photos for their website as well. And they were really lovely about it. When they were ready to share the website, they credited me. They made it known to families in the community that I was a photographer. They've also supported me whenever I have offered mini sessions. They let me post a flyer. They welcome me in to do school portraits for the kiddos. I mean, that is just that I'm there. I'm in my community where I want to be so that I can speak to families, and that is my audience. Okay, so just make sure you are targeting different businesses in the community who make sense for your target audience. And then also don't be afraid to go to networking events as well. I feel like I have not really utilized this, and I don't know why it never occurred to me, but I just recently found a motherhood entrepreneur group, and I think I found it through Evite. Well, a friend kind of alerted me to it, but I was on, this is not Evite. What's it called? Eventbrite? Okay, I'm getting confused. I think it's Eventbrite. Anyway, so I found this entrepreneur group for moms, and I'm going to go to one of those events in about a week now. And I am kind of kicking myself that I have not gone to any of these types of events before. I literally don't know what I was thinking. You cannot just sit down and wait for people to come to you. You have to reach out, okay? So yes, social media and there are other tools for platforms for marketing, but inserting yourself visibly, personally, in person into the communities and where you want to be recognized and be able to spread word about your business is so important. So I'm super excited to go to this little event in the next week or so. All right, so like local moms groups, your school, if you work in wedding photography, then you probably want to make contact with people like hair and makeup artists, florists, venues. Just kind of connect with them, see if they have vendor lists, that kind of thing. Try to get your name on them. And yeah, those are some great ways. Honestly, like I do some studio photography now too, and I connected with a florist this year and a couple of event photographers, and I'm really excited to have that opportunity to collaborate, but also just to kind of learn from those people too, because they're kind of like in this parallel industry to me. It's very similar. It's not the same, but it's very similar. And they will have a similar audience too, or a similar ideal client. So I can actually learn a lot from them, not just thinking about ways in which they can serve me, but how can I serve them? So yeah, I think it's great. Let's see. So one other thing I also did this year, I was also a member in the past, but I joined a photo collective. And the one that I'm currently a member of is called Denver Photo Collective. And it is a studio that the owner she set up memberships so that we can use the studio a certain number of hours per month. The owner also sets up events for us. She sets up headshot days for us. It's great. There's a ton of value in it. But also I just have this whole community and network. So it's great because sometimes these other photographers get offered jobs and then let's say they can't do it. They're not available. They will immediately drop it in the group and refer it to us. So I can immediately get a referral for a job, and it's so great. It's a quick win. Won't necessarily always get that job, but it's so much easier than trawling through Facebook groups where people say, hey, I want a photographer who doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of seeing those posts. So I do love being part of a photo collective for that reason, but also it's great. It's so inspiring to just be part of a creative community. I highly recommend it. It also, I think, really helps you to normalize everything that you're going through, the challenges, and yeah, just sharing that with other people, especially in this industry, which can feel very solitary. As a photographer, you are working on your own a lot of the time. So it feels great to actually be a part of a team almost. So yeah, and on that point, just kind of try to encourage that mindset that community over competition. I think it is so beneficial to surround yourself with like-minded photographers. I told you I was going to have a hard time speaking today. Yeah, they're not your enemies. They can be some of your best referrals, and they can just help you grow in so many ways. So I really encourage being part of a collective. So number 5 kind of ties into that too. And this is something I also wish I hadn't waited so long to do. So get yourself a mentor or join a coaching program. I think this is so important. I feel like I struggled for a good couple years as I was building my brand with my own style and just what direction I should go with my, who I was trying to speak to, who were my clients, that kind of thing. So having a mentor can just hold you accountable, but can also really direct you specifically to a style and to developing your brand. So if you're not quite ready to get yourself a mentor, I would at least recommend you start by building yourself a mood board. Just kind of pin everything you find in photography that you see that you like. And then you can kind of separate that all out into different things. So you could have color palettes, you could have locations, you could have editing style, you can have photography style. So whether that's documentary or more joyful, playful, candid imagery, that kind of thing. You just pin everything that you see that you like, and then start sectioning out that board and start removing things as well so that you can just kind of get it a little more consolidated. I think that's an excellent place to start if you're just like, I don't know, my style is all over the place. One day I like this, one day I like that. I feel like that's kind of where I was. I also think I was really trying to please my clients too much. I'm a people pleaser. I can't help it. So I was kind of going into sessions thinking about, well, what does my client want? What are they hoping to get? What kind of imagery do I think they like? And that, I mean, honestly, I was assuming so much with that. So that's not great. I think I had a really hard time as well with thinking of myself as an artist. So let's just digest that for a second. You are a photographer, you are creating art, you are an artist. So you have to be true to yourself, all right? If you do not focus on creating imagery that you love and a style that you think is beautiful, you are going to quickly not enjoy the work that you're doing, okay? So you need to enjoy the work you're doing, and to do that, you need to feel really passionate about that, and you need to be creating work that you're proud of and that feels authentic to you. All right, quick water break. I need to rehydrate. All right, so if you are creating your own art, staying true to yourself, you are going to very quickly build very consistent and desirable portfolios. And you are immediately going to stand out to your potential clients, okay? Your work is going to look consistent and it's going to look attractive. So keep that in mind if you are ever feeling tempted to stray from that concept. Don't do it. All right, stay true to you. Last thing, if you do want to accelerate this idea, then I will say that joining a mentor or coaching program will make all of this faster for you. You do not have to figure all of this out alone. They can offer you reassurance, guidance, feedback. I highly recommend it. I worked with a mentor last year, Autumn Bury from Hello Miss Lovely. I will drop her information in the show notes as well. And it was phenomenal. It was very serendipitous, I will say, because I actually had intended to go on a retreat she was hosting. And for various reasons, she had to cancel that retreat. But she offered me this business mentorship package instead. And I kind of hesitated on whether it was a good idea or not. I had actually already been thinking at the time, okay, in 2026, I really should get myself a mentor. And so the fact that she was offering this, I actually didn't hesitate too long. I just was like, oh, yes, how did you know I need this? So I could not be more thrilled that I did that. I really think that was a game changer for me. I'm just sad I waited so long. Okie dokie. So next one, number 6, is your portfolio. You cannot book clients if you don't have any images. So before you launch anything publicly, you are going to need to do some shoots. I would say at a minimum, try to do 5 sessions so that you just have a little bit of variety there. Use your friends, use your family, do some model calls if you need to. There are some photographer groups on Facebook that you could join for your location that will often also include models. So you can absolutely put a model call out in one of those Facebook groups, but just do whatever you can to get out there, take some gorgeous pictures, and yes, just build your portfolio. You are going to want to be very intentional with what you're shooting though. So think about who you are trying to appeal to, who's your ideal client, what types of people are you going to be shooting? Is it just going to be families, or are you also going to include couples? Are you potentially even doing weddings? If you do need wedding or elopement content, then I would recommend looking for some styled shoots, because there are plenty of those out there where you can get that type of imagery for your portfolio. So yes, be very clear, be very intentional, and you are probably going to have to shoot for free for just these 5 sessions, just so you can build your portfolio. Okay? All right, number 7, your website. Oh my gosh, yes. And like I said, this is not a step-by-step framework here. Obviously, you're going to need a website pretty early on, but you're also going to need images. So there's things that are happening at the same time here. So number 7 is website. I would say that at the very minimum, you're going to need a few pages. Okay, so you're going to need your portfolio page. You're going to need a home page. You're going to need a contact form, and you're probably going to need some kind of investment page as well. Okay, so you've got like 4 pages there. I started with Pixieset partly because I knew it had everything under one roof. So not only does it house your website, but it had galleries, it had a little bit of CRM in there, so kind of contact information for my clients, because you could also set up your bookings directly through Pixieset as well. And then what else did it have? What else am I not mentioning? Oh, also a blog. So yeah, everything kind of under one roof. Website, bookings, galleries. Oh, galleries with a built-in store, which is huge, because I know there are some gallery platforms out there that don't have a built-in store, which is crazy, because that is a huge opportunity right there for you to make some more money even after the session is done. If people want to order prints or artwork, I mean, it's just, yeah, you got to have a built-in store with your gallery. So make sure you have that. Pixieset does have that. And then a blog. So this kind of just made sense for me in the beginning. I will say that since then, so this year I separated everything out. I moved my CRM to HoneyBook, and I don't regret that at all. It is so great. It has so many automations and just really cool features. It's incredible. I'm still kind of getting to grips with it, but it's so phenomenal. And oh my God, it's like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this podcast, and for some reason, someone is doing some kind of gardening or something right outside right now, which is super distracting when I'm already having a hard time today. And then now my son's nap clock, you know, the hatches, is going off because it's his nap time, but he's not here. There's no peace to be had in this home. Okay, back to it. I really hope you cannot hear the chaos that is happening outside right now. Anyway, I will try to drop that audio volume down if it's there when I play this back. All right, so yes, I moved away from Pixieset this year. I moved my CRM to Honeybook. It's fantastic. There's so many options for automations. I just think it looks super professional. You can set up proposals in there. It's so good. I also moved my website to Showit, which again, just looks super professional. It's a really beautiful way to showcase your work as an artist. It just has so much more flexibility than Pixieset did with where things go and how things are animated as well. I will say that I think Pixieset is developing their site and their platform and their tools more and more, because I still kind of get emails from them telling me about what's new, which does make me feel a little regretful. But no, I'm really happy that I moved away. I do think Pixieset was great to start. I will just say, I don't know if this is possible now, but when I was moving from Pixieset to Showit, I was not able to easily transfer my blog content across to Showit. Showit will migrate your content. I think if you have a website with other platform hosts like Squarespace and even Wix, but Pixieset's blog is kind of like built in. So yeah, there's no way to migrate that content. You just have to do it manually, which really sucks. I have not gotten around to doing all of that yet. Just something to consider down if you are thinking of taking up with Pixieset now. Just hopefully you'll never move, but also hopefully they continue to make developments like they seem to be doing. All right, so yeah, I do think Squarespace is another great one to start with if you feel like Showit is too complicated for you. There is a little bit of learning needed with Showit kind of upfront, but once you've dialed that down and know what you're doing, it's so fantastic. Anyway, pick a platform that is going to help you build something beautiful, that's pretty simple to get started. It's clean, it's functional. It needs to do the job, right? It needs to attract your clients, keep them on there, and then have an easy spot where they can contact you. Okay. So next, how many we got left? We got 3 left. All right, we're on social media. It's a biggie. We can't really get by without social media, right? It's 2026. If you're not using social media, oh my goodness, you need to get out from underneath your rock, okay? You absolutely need to make social media a priority. You do not need to be on every single social media platform. That's not necessary, but the ones you are using, you need to use intentionally and consistently. So pick 2 to 3 platforms and just make sure you're doing it well, okay? So set yourself up with a schedule. If you need a content calendar, that's also a great idea, just something that's gonna hold you accountable. You could even use one of those platform apps where you can schedule everything out. There's so many different ones. I think there's one called Plan. There's Planoly, I wanna say as well. There's Tailwind. There's so many, guys. Just find one that works for you. I do know that Tailwind is kind of Pinterest's social media planning tool. So if you are really big or want to be really big in Pinterest, then Tailwind is probably one of the ones you definitely want to consider using. And then just, you have to treat this like it's part of your business, okay? Like it's a priority. It has to be. You cannot get away from social media these days. And it's honestly, you got to just try to cultivate that mindset where you believe like, hey, I have access to this awesome tool and it's free. Like I can literally put myself in front of my ideal audience by being personable, by educating them, by showing them the types of images I create. It's fantastic. And actually, I have a whole episode coming up about social media, so stay tuned for that. Piggybacking on the idea of social media is, I think if you are starting out and you don't really have like a strong referral network or anything like that going on, then running ads is going to be really important too. I don't know why I kind of just thought like I would be able to find my people through social media. I think social media, I'm not going to backtrack on what I said. It is still huge. It's super important and it's a priority. But there is a lot of noise, which is part of the reason why you need to be consistent and post fairly often. I think running ads is something you're going to need to do also. I would recommend using Google Ads and then also whichever platform you're using, but Meta ads, so Facebook or Instagram or both, are probably the two places that I would run ads. I had some really good success with Google Ads, and honestly, if I had tried to use Google Ads like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have had to go to Fiverr or somewhere and hire someone to do it for me because I have no idea what I'm doing. But now that we have amazing AI tools available, AI was literally able to walk me through what to do step by step. Did it take some time? Yes, but it paid off. Like I got plenty of new inquiries and clients from running Google Ads. So I highly recommend that you spend some time, learn how to do it, or have AI help you learn how to do it and put up some ads. It is worth the money, okay? Do not get bogged down in, oh, this is costing $500. Yeah, but then you might get 3 bookings from it. So it's worth it, okay? That was number 9. Oh my gosh, we're almost there. Woohoo! Okay, pricing is my final one. I do think you need to have your pricing on your website, or at least a starting from figure so that your clients know what to expect. I think clients appreciate transparency. They also don't want to have their time wasted, and you don't want to have your time wasted. So why would you want someone reaching out to you who has no idea what your pricing is, and then you're completely out of their budget? Like, just at least put on your website starting from X dollars, whatever, for this package. And if you are not sure where to start with pricing, obviously if you're just getting started, you may feel like you want to discount some of your sessions if they are going to be really helpful for portfolio building. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But do not undervalue yourself for too long, because that will definitely lead to burnout. So one of the most important things you can do is use a pricing calculator or a cost of doing business calculator. And I will link to one in the show notes, just so that you are not plucking a random figure out of thin air or just using a value based on Jane down the street who also does photography, right? I say this because this is what I did. I was like, all right, let me see what everybody else is charging, and then I'll just kind of go in the middle. I think we all do this, and really we're all just hurting ourselves. Do a cost of doing business calculator and actually figure out how much you need to charge for a session. You are probably going to surprise yourself because it's probably going to be more than you think. I know if you're just getting started, you may even have that similar mindset to what your clients have, where it's like, oh, your session costs, let's just say $800 for an hour. And in their heads or in their minds, they might be like, wow, $800 an hour. This is such a sweet payday for this girl. Okay, if you're thinking like that as a photographer too, hell no. Think about all of the planning that goes into your session. All right, then it's the session itself. Then there's all the work after, okay? You have to upload your photos, you have to call, you have to edit. Then you have to communicate with your client again once you've got everything up into the gallery and you're sending them that gallery. And don't forget about the cost of everything else you need in order to do that work. Okay, so it's your gear, it's the tools you use on your computer, it's your computer. I mean, it's an expensive business to be in, okay? It's not cheap. So please make sure you are not undervaluing yourself. Yeah, just don't do that, okay? You're going to be very, very tired and very, very cranky if you do that, okay? I think it's taken me a while to kind of come around to the idea, or at least I was telling myself for the first couple of years, which I do think is normal. Like the first couple of years, you are grinding, you are going to hustle, you are going to feel like you're a little bit undervalued, but don't let that continue for too long. You need to have the confidence once your work is there, once your consistency is there, have the confidence to increase your prices to a pricing that matches your value, okay? You'll be a lot happier. Yes, you'll have less sessions, but you're getting paid more per session. So that's awesome. You have more time available. Wonderful. That's what we all want, right? Okay, let's see. I think that covers everything. Oh my goodness. So we had 10 different things you need to get started for your photography business in 2026. These are obviously all relevant for 2027 too. I will just say, if this sounds like a lot, it is a lot. It's not easy. Just get started. Do a little bit every day, step by step, okay? Do not get overwhelmed by this list that I just gave you, okay? Just chip away at it, all right? I know you want to just do the thing already and start providing services and start making money, but it takes time, okay? It's going to take time. And then if you are like me, where I started my business, let's see. So I got started, and just to recap this a little bit from episode 1, I got started by actually working for a wedding photography company. So I contracted myself to them, and I was a second shooter at weddings for summer. It was a lot of fun, but I quickly realized, so my daughter was 1 at the time and we were trying for another baby, and I did get pregnant at the end of that summer. So I quickly realized that was not really going to be sustainable. It was already quite challenging with 1 kiddo. And I just knew the exhaustion was going to be real once we had 2 kids. So at the end of that summer, I started to set up my own business. And I just got started slowly, you guys. Like I started taking pictures of friends so that I could build my portfolio. I started a website and I slowly started adding those images to my website. And my website was not live, it was just in draft, but I was getting it started. I had placeholder images. So you can be creating your website even when you don't have your portfolio yet, okay? Just use placeholder images. And I slowly kind of chipped away at that. I continued to take pictures of friends and family whenever I could so I could build my portfolio. Then I had my son the following year in May, and so this was 2023. And again, I was not doing a lot of paid work. I was just developing my business. Some of the things I was working on actually was guides and information that I could have on hand so that when clients reached out to me, I was not having to email them back all the time with some new information. I could just be like, sure, here's my pricing guide, or here's my wardrobe guide, my style guide, all right? So you can start thinking about those types of things as well if you are finding yourself in this phase or stage where you don't actually have a lot of time or you're not even shooting a lot, let's say, but you can build all of the back-end stuff. You can also build those automations in Honeybook, so in your CRM, which will be super helpful to you. So anything you can do on the back end, all that admin stuff, so that when you do start booking shoots, you are not really busy trying to get all that set up as well. Like that framework is already working for you. That would be fantastic. So that's kind of what I did. And then things start to pick up a little bit and I did start to book more shoots. I joined a photo collective and that was fantastic because I had access to styled shoots as part of that. I also just got I mean, I started my community of photography friends, so that was super helpful to just kind of inspire me creatively and to also let me know, things are hard. This is a shared experience, all right? Whatever you think you're going through, I guarantee another photographer is probably going through the same thing, okay? So I think it was just really helpful in terms of motivation as well to be like, oh, okay, I am good enough. I can do this. Like, I'm not alone here. Other people feel the same way. So that's really fantastic. Within that little community support group, we also did like a website review. So that was super helpful. Just being able to get some feedback on my website. It's great because, we look at it with our own eyes, and honestly, it is really great if you can send it to a friend or family member, send your website to them and have them try to book a session with you so they can tell you how easy or hard it is to actually do. Because if any of it is confusing to them or hard to them, then that's not great. Like, you need to fix that, okay? Because it needs to be super easy for your potential clients. Cool. All right. And then what else? Let's see. I think just to conclude, I will say that you need to kind of have this entrepreneurial mindset, all right, where you're going to do whatever it takes to stand out, okay? Do not let fear or embarrassment or your ego or just like fear of rejection or whatever it might be, do not let those things stop you, okay? Because those things are going to happen anyway at some point, all right? You're going to get embarrassed at some point. You're going to be rejected at some point. You need to just accept that is going to happen and be okay with it, all right? You're not a failure. You're not terrible at what you're doing. You're just learning. You're human. You're making mistakes, okay? So just let go of all of that fear. Some of that stuff is going to happen. You need to just keep persevering, all right? So one of the things that I think is really helpful as well, if you are ever feeling like quitting on this journey, is to come back to your why. Why is it that you wanted to start a photography business? Who are you doing this for? What is it you want to achieve in 5 years? What does success look like to you as a photographer, as a mother, as a person in your family unit? Just have those things written down somewhere so that you can continue to show up every day. And don't let quitting get the better of you. Okay, so don't forget, you are unique. Your work has tremendous value. You should share it. So please don't give up. Okay. All right. So to conclude this episode, I really would love it if you found anything in this episode helpful at all. Please leave me a review. It just genuinely helps my show to grow and helps me understand what you guys need more of or less of. And then reviews as well are what makes things like transcripts and chapters and just timestamps more easily accessible for you. So honestly, it's going to take you like less than a minute. Please just hit 5 stars, say Roz is awesome, and you're done. All right. So please do that. And then also don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so that you never miss an episode. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.